You have learned how to identify as if a relation is a function from multiple representations, from a set of ordered pairs, from a mapping, and from a table. Maybe take a second and determine if each of those purple things are functions. The first representation is a function because each x has exactly one y. In the mapping, that is also a function because each input has exactly one output. In the table, it is not a function. It's a non-function because the number 1 as an input has 2 different outputs. Sorry, I didn't get my N on there on non-function. So really, the thing that's important is no matter what representation you're looking at, every input should have exactly one output. We're going to talk about verbal descriptions today. Sometimes you're expected to know if something is if it is a function just by knowing kind of the type of thing there is. It's a little harder to do this way because you can't check each ordered pair. You just have to think about it critically. So usually in our class, we're going to have a verbal description like this. So we'd have the 2 different sets of things separated by the word and. So we have students and their school ID number. Now, I'm going to clarify that school is from a single district. And then if we think about this, in my system, when I look up a student, each person has one ID number. So how you're going to think about this is the first word is the input. The second thing after the and is the output. So each student has one ID number. Does every input have exactly one output? Yes. So we're going to say, yep, this is a function. Let's try another example. Remember that the first word, so we're going to say mother and child. So, is the relationship of a mother and child a function? Well, here's our input, here's our output. A mother can have more than one child, so this is not a function, because not every input has exactly one output. Now you might say, well, there are some mothers that have just one child. That's fine. But if there's one input, if there is a possibility of one input having more than one output, then it's not a function. So the first way that it might be described to you is that you just have 2 different ideas, 2 different things separated by the word and. The other way that someone might ask if something is a function is to phrase it as a question. So, is height a function of age? Now, for something to be a function of something else, that means that it is the y for the x. So, when it is asked this way, the second thing when you're asking if something is a function of something else, that's the output. So this is the output and this is the input. And that's a little weird, but that's the way it reads. So is height a function of age? Can we say that a person who is 13 is always going to be 5'2"? Well, no, I know some 13-year-olds who are 6'4". So this is not a function of age. We're going to say, no, it's a non-function. And that's how you read that one there. So if it says, is blank a function of blank, the first word is the output. I know that's a little weird, but sometimes people use English a little weird. It is a little simpler if it is done just with numbers.